thank you everyone for joining us today. We're going to go ahead and get kicked off. We're excited to have Toumie from THDA with us, and I do want to let you know that this webinar is being recorded and it will be uploaded in a Copia Hub on the DPA page that's specific for THDA. So I will go ahead and let you get started. And again, thank you so much for being with us today.
Oh, Brandy, thank you so much for having me. I know there has been a lot of changes, that we're rolling out. And as I was saying, we want to keep this down payment assistance program going. We want it to continue, right? Sorry, I'm like, I guess I should do a little intro. I just like go right into it. But Toumie Parrot, so I'm the account manager for Middle Tennessee. Hopefully, if you need anything, just reach out, call, email tparrot@thda.org. But yes, there has been changes, and as I was telling Brandy, it was necessary because we definitely want to continue this program because we've seen just a huge difference that it's made, right? And affordable housing, that's the buzzword across the nation, not just Tennessee. So we had to tweak it a little bit. So of course, the program prior to July the 1st, 5% of the sales price, the down payments was, a second mortgage, a solid second mortgage, no interest, no payments, right? And you as the lender, originating agent, you were able to charge on the front end, up to 2% in origination, no discounts, and then all normal customary fees like underwriting, processing, application, and such, right? So that's what it was prior to July the 1st. As of July the 1st, we did have to make, the update so that we can continue this program. So instead of 5% of the sales price, it is a flat $6,000 for homes under $150,000. Homes 150 and over, the down payment assistance is $7,500, right? So the amount changed. The down payment is still a second mortgage. Instead of a 30-year second mortgage, no payments, no interest, starting July the 1st, it is a 15-year second mortgage. And it's amortizing payments. The rate is the same as for the first mortgage. That was the other change that rolled out. So the rate was 4% prior to July the 1st, and it has dropped to 3.5 for everyone. And then for our veteran borrowers and, folks serving their second tour in the military, they get that 50 basis point reduction. So 3% for them. And I talked a little about, what you were able to charge prior to July the 1st, starting July the 1st. The compensation did change, and that plays into, how much the borrower will get in the end in down payment assistance. So yes, prior to July the 1st, you were allowed to charge up to 2%. Across the state, it averaged about 1.5%. Some companies, they charge 1% in origination, some 2%, right? So our 5% didn't go wholly to the borrower. Depending on what lenders were charging, 1% and up to 2%, was taken out of that DPA and went towards origination. So starting July the 1st, the compensation changed to, you as the originating agent would no longer be allowed to charge the origination. Okay, so how do you make your money? So that compensation piece of it will no longer come from the borrower. Instead of the borrower, 1 or up to 2%, THDA, we will compensate, your company 1.75% when we purchase the loan from you after it closes. And normal customary fees, it's capped at $1,400. Right, so that's what it looks like now and going forward. So the borrower, they would have, that origination that they would have paid for. So now that money becomes available for other closing costs. And I pulled up some numbers because it's like, oh, that's, 6,000, 7,500 when you compared it to, 5% of 375,000, which is, over 18,000, such a huge difference. But if you look at it, and again, there is a sweet spot. But if you take that back to who we are trying to help with our program, low to moderate income borrowers, that's kind of our sweet spot. We don't see too many home being purchased with THDA funds at that 375 mark. Middle Tennessee, the average purchase price, over 865 loans in the first half was 205,000. Okay, and then I pulled up a copious number. The average purchase price for a copia first half was 192,000 over 49 loans. So that's kind of still the sweet spot. And I did an Excel spreadsheet. It's so let's say you buy and the sweet spot was 214 because the 7,500 completely covered the down payment requirements, FHA's down payment requirements, because 98% of our files that comes through THDA are FHA files. But at 214, 275, the 7,500 covered the 3.5% down payment requirements. And then the origination, what bars are no longer allowed to be charged, then that money, not additional money, but that money that went towards origination can now be put towards other closing costs. The other thing, so structure and the compensation. Other thing is, prior, the second mortgage down payment piece of it, there were no payments, no interest. So we had, disclosure online, and then also the good faith estimate and loan estimate that was online. So that's the other update. And let me show you where it is. So if you click on business part, I'm like, by the way, that was me. Anyway, business partners, lenders, right? Let's see. So if you scroll down, you should get these memos. If not, shoot me an email and I can add you to the list. But our memos are updated on our webpage. But this is the second part of the change. So instead of having those two documents, which isn't relevant any longer because the down payment does have second mortgage does have payments now. So the loan would have to close in the OA's name, right? And then on the front end, you would provide the loan estimate. Then on the back end, having the CD executed, and of course the second mortgage note and the deed of trust. This is online, so that is one of the changes. The other thing, I know that the rate used to be on our webpage, and it still is, but it's kind of hidden. You can't tell just looking at it. But current interest rates, if you click on it, okay, so it has rates for both of our down payments assistance program. You may have heard conventional, that also rolled out on July the 1st. But if you scroll down, our bond rates, it's listed here, and it doesn't change very often. We go to bond market as more funds are needed to finance this program. Right now, our debt ceiling is, I believe, 3.4 billion. We recently had it increased to 4 billion. We have, 2.9 billion outstanding. So that money should last us, for some years still. But bond rates doesn't change very often. And our conventional has the potential to change daily. And I'll just throw this out there, so right now, with both programs, you can lock in the rate, prior to thinking about this conventional. We didn't really need to lock in our rate because it didn't change very often. And we normally give about a week and a half notice before the rate change took effect. But now with the, we knew we were rolling out the conventional, we needed a rate lock desk. So that's why that came about on November the 12th. But for the bond program, you can lock in the rate anytime after you take an application, all the way to when you submit a complete file with your underwriter's approval and the appraisal. And I know that with all these changes that rolled out, that some companies they didn't have that capability to be able to lock in the rate. They needed like a clear to close before they would allow their LO to lock in the rate. So that's something that maybe your operations may need to look into if you're not able to do that currently. Yeah, but that is pretty much it. Let me go back. So that's where our rate is. And just, COVID, we've been in this pandemic for a while, but some guidance is there. But otherwise, our loan documents, has been updated. So the disclosure of loan terms and the good faith estimate, like I mentioned, that's no longer needed, since, it does have payments and it does have an interest rate. Those are pretty much the changes with THDA. We did not change the credit score. It remains a 640, because I know other financial institutions, they changed it with COVID. We're pretty much business as usual. Our turn time is 48 hours. Usually within that 48 hours, as long as our underwriters, they get a clean, complete file in the proper stacking order, because definitely we know how busy you are nights, weekends, and the numbers, what I'm hearing, it's crazy. So we want to be able to get you a commitment as soon as possible. Commitments, once you lock in the rate, commitments on existing homes are still good for 90 days. For new construction, it's good for 180 days. So that remains the same. There have not been any additional overlays. Yeah, but that's pretty much, our down payment assistance update. And in the end, we want to be able to do this because we know that it makes such a huge difference, across the state. But that is pretty much all for the changes. Do you have any questions for me, or anything I can help direct you to?
Oh, thank you so much. We do have one that states,
Yeah.
are the affidavits and recapture forms still applicable?
Yes, we still are using bond money, so those are still required. So just going back to the business partner lenders, right? So loan documents, yes, all of those are still required. The only two, that are not required is the disclosure of the loan terms and the good faith or the LE. Those are the two that are no longer required. But yes, it's still bond money. The recapture tax is still applicable. The two affidavits, the seller's affidavit or the application affidavit, of course, it's in our COVID guidance, but those can be remotely signed. But everything else on the first is still the same. It's just the second that's changing.
Wonderful. And just for confirmation, I know that we've been using DocuSign a lot. They are able to sign all the documents DocuSign except for anything that requires a notary, correct?
That is correct, yes.
All right. And I do have, does the borrower make the monthly payments on the second, and will it be included in the first payment, or do they pay it separate?
It is separate. It is two payments. I think when we start sending out, the bills and whatnot, it is two statements, two bills. Yes. And they're both going to our servicing unit. With our loans, I know with the beginning of COVID, some lenders of ours, they suspended all bond programs. But we're kind of different from other state in that we do, we purchase these loans from you, these files from you. Once it closes, we pay that service release premium. So we do own the loans and we do service the loans. But yes, there would be two payments.
Wonderful. And do you do still accept their remote notarization, correct, from Ron?
Yes. Yeah, we're following, tenancy's guidance on that, guidelines on that.
Very good. Any other additional questions from anyone? Well, that was
It's like
great. It was
it's
amazing to see you
I'm
sing it.
like it's a quiet group.
I know it is a busy
Let me
time for
see.
sure, but thank you
Yeah,
very much
definitely.
for today's presentation. And again, everyone, this is going to be recorded, or it has been recorded. It's going to get edited and will be uploaded on our Acopia Hub DPA page. So it's not going to be on the training page. It'll be on the down payment assistance page within the Hub. All right, well, thank you
Very
very
awesome.
much. And if anybody has any questions, they can reach out to THDA or any.
To Toumie Parrots, definitely, whichever's easiest.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much and have
Thanks, Brandy. Thank you, you too. Bye, guys. Talk to you later.
a bye-bye.